Hello, it's December 4th and you're back with Dave and Tim at the Single Malt Review for our latest Sight Unseen mystery tasting.
The fear is building. I came in with such confidence after we had that, not that we got it right or anything, but that comparatively easy Ardbeg. Things have just gotten more peculiar since then. So
I have fallen back into familiar traps and pitfalls of being swayed by clues on the board, clues on our clue cards, and my own
by one's
self-doubt.
Tell it first to be true.
Yeah.
That should be the motto of blind tasting here. That's how we used to do it before all of these old newfangled visual aids. We used to just get it wrong honestly. Okay, here we go.
That's a very sunny yellow looking dram.
This is a lovely bright golden dram there. Look at that. Look at that. What could that mean? Absolutely nothing.
It does once again smell delicious.
This may come back to haunt me, but I don't think this is Scotch whiskey.
Oh, I'm going to try and find out.
A more useful thing to say would be, I think this is this specific other country's whiskey, but I'm not there yet. Let's just taste it and see if the clue is going to give us a bit more shine a light on this one. But there's something...
It is once again very familiar. I am convinced I've tried this in the semi-recent past, which could mean anywhere up to a year and a half ago.
This is very barrel
there's some
influenced.
There's some very particular spice and fruit starting to happen.
There's cough medicine. There is those there's what are they?
Irish moss?
Not so much. Well, a little bit of Irish moss in how cough medicines sometimes say that they're Irish moss flavored, but it's that very sort of slightly mentholic, medicinal but sweet. It's the throat lozenge. It's the hard candy raspberry stuff.
Oh, I have an inkling. I'm not going to say it just yet.
Let's look at the clue. Let's look at the clue first.
I'm being steered in a certain direction.
I'll say before we taint ourselves with the mysteries of the clue, the talking point. I will say that my initial impression was this is not Scotch. The palate is less conclusive because this is very, very, very cask influenced. The cask here is coming through loud and clear.
Yeah,
and it's quite a desserty. It's like it's not. I don't think it's a Sauternes because it's more of a lighter thing. But there's something very, very sweet coming along here.
I have something in mind.
Let's save it up. Save it up.
No,
it's treachery.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing quite well with not ruining the clues here. No, it's just the one. Here it comes. Ooh. Local barley or barely local. Sound guess or barely cogent. Okay. Local barley. Local barley that's a word that I've read associated with whiskey. Springbank.
Cotswolds.
I have not stared into the Cotswolds in a little while, but they do a local barley.
I believe so. I believe they almost entirely use local barley.
Scratching my head on the Springbank one. Is it Springbank Organic or something? They definitely do there's a something barley. There's a something barley that Springbank does. I do not think this is in any way Springbank.
Or barely local is the other half of the clue.
Barely local.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, now we have the clues up, I'm going to say
I
am leaning toward Scandinois.
Scandinois.
My recent experience with that outstanding Scandinavian whiskey tasting set, it's given there's some of those medicinal properties, those unique sort of spicy flavors. There's some unusual earthy and herby properties in here, which I don't associate with, the mainstream Scotch whiskey.
I'm actually going to. Well, it's not stealing because you left it. You left it on behind. Yeah. You left it on the street. I'm actually more in the Cotswolds direction.
Yeah, I was speaking that too as an alternative.
Let me show my working. This one is. There's a lot of cask influence, and that's something I associate with Cotswolds because I've always found those whiskies to be a bit in a hurry in terms of how they're made, which is a nice way of saying they taste a little bit rushed, and that they really do like to bung them into super, super active casks and get them out the door as rapidly as possible. This is not... I've had more Cotswolds than than most people probably. Just because I was curious about English whiskey, and there's so few of it still available, at least here in New Zealand. But it's got that all cask, no. How would you complete that analogy? What is it? All something, no something else.
I don't know, but what I'm thinking of is, out of the limited number of Cotswolds I've tried, but very much enjoyed, all of them, is their abundant use of red wine casks. It adds a whole lot of flavour very quickly to an otherwise comparatively young whiskey. And the more I think about it, as in the more I'm swayed by exactly what you're saying, I'm thinking that Cotswolds is more likely than not for this fella.
I like it as well because it is in, well, funny enough, the Cotswolds. Even we can get that one.
Yeah.
What troubles me is it says local barley or barely local, because that's the reverse of barely local. Barely local would be, I don't know, that would be Scandinavia, because Scandinavia is local to Scotland, but sort of barely. So you could go either way with that one. I still think Cotswolds. And I think it's some sort of cask of the week, because that's sort of what Cotswolds do. It's like here's a Hermitage Syrah cask that we've chucked it in, and it's gotten very developed very quickly. You know what? We're forgetting another thing. We're not using the clues properly, are we? We're hyper focused on the talking points, and we're not doing it.
Scandinois, certainly.
We do have Scandinois,
and also England.
Yeah,
I am leaning towards Cotswolds. I think possibly part of their core range, where it's a blend of different casks.
Are you stealing my steal? If you can't,
no, I've just been.
It's entirely allowed. It's just because
based on what we're trying, and the knowing their tendency to use multiple casks, including wine, to get a flavoursome whiskey with a relatively young age statement. It could be, of course, it could be organic from someone. No, it's probably not 12 years old in Cask Street, which is good. We can rule some of these out.
This is Cask Street.
So okay. For the sake of confidence, I'm willing to lean into Cotswolds.
I like Cotswolds too. I would have said the English Malt Whisky Company was more like that's got English in the name. Yeah. But have they closed? Have they dropped off the face of the map? I haven't seen English Malt Whisky Company whiskey for...
I don't recall.
Yonks. The only one we get in New Zealand, unless Whisky Galore have snuck one in without me noticing, which would be a rare event, is Cotswolds. They have a lot of Cotswolds on the shelf, and these are ostensibly whiskies that have been bought in New Zealand, which is something we should be thinking of, because for locally acquired, whiskies, the more outlandish stuff, Scandies included, is probably a little harder. Not we put it past them. We got that Chorlton that came from direct over. So anyway, I think I'm certainly liking the Cotswolds in this one, and I'm perfectly happy for you to also like the Cotswolds. We'll ride this bomb down together, and we'll either both come out victorious or blown to bits. All right, let's have it. Let's do the damage.
If it is actually a Scandinavian whiskey, I may literally kick myself.
But
we'll see.
Don't hit your knee on the table.
Hey, yes. Cotswolds 2015 Odyssey Barley.
The clue, because we surely will not need it ever again. Yes. Yes.
In fact, Odyssey Barley may be one I have actually tried.
Odyssey Barley.
Yeah.
Odyssey Barley doesn't ring any bells for me. Yeah. I think I've tried their, what do they call it? But here we go, ex-bourbon, ex-red wine. So they're into the funky casks again, and local barley. Yeah.
Organic. We'll go very quick check to see if this is the actual Cotswolds whiskey we reviewed on the channel.
Ooh, no, that was Founder's Reserve or something. Anyway, Dave's going to look that up, and we are not going to look up the distance because we are spot on, no kilometres for us. Yes, we're not completely useless. We got there in the end. It only took us, number 4. It only took us 4 whiskies we got there, unless I'm even wrong about that. No, I'm right about that. Okay, check back just a sec.
Okay, so it's not one of the 2 Cotswolds whiskies we've tried on the channel, but it is very much a stablemate, a compatriot.
Evocative of the distillery.
And again, with that common trend of red wine barrels, a particular favourite of mine because of how much fruity goodness they can add to a young whiskey.
All right, last question. Where do we rank this? Second to last question.
Ooh.
Did we forget to rank the last one? I think we did. So in fact, we are ranking 2. We are ranking this against the Kingsbarns Dream to Dram.
Well, I honestly think because of just my particular likes and dislikes, I think this Cotswolds whiskey is the top of the bunch so far.
Yeah,
I would
okay.
put Kingsbarns
Kingsbarns for me sadly is lagging a
above
little.
Ardbeg,
Okay.
but possibly below Miyagikyo.
Okay, all right. Oh man, poor Ardbeg. It's just getting the bash today.
Well, it's not that it's bad, just that out of the few we've had so far, it's there have been others I like more.
Let me make some alterations here. So we've got Kingsbarn. All right, I could make an argument for Miyagiko over Cotswolds, but I see where you're coming from, and I think probably Cotswolds as a far younger dram probably does deserve it. So I won't die on that hill now. I may die on a hill later if I've got a real favourite, but that's the list at the moment. Cotswolds the new favourite out of what is now actually arguably a list, not just a joke about a lack of a list.
Yeah.
This is now really having to fight for its position. And the travel miles are exactly what they were last time, which is myself on 13,000, sorry. 431, and Dave just ahead in viewing distance at 13,844, but no damage on this round. We're finally getting somewhere.
Yes.
How long? We've entered the golden age of the streak. Based on how we've been going, my confidence of maintaining the streak has never been lower, but we'll see how we go. Catch us tomorrow and see how that ends up. Sludger.